Did the CIA have a hand in the murder of John F. Kennedy, an American president? And here's the reply we received verbatim. Quote, "The answer is yes. I believe they were involved. It's a whole different country from what we thought it was. It's all fake." Americans have trusted their government less with every passing year since the killing of John F. Kennedy.
What's up, guys? Boy Benny. We live in some of the most politically hyperbolic and divided times ever. It doesn't seem like there's a single issue that anyone can agree upon, and it seems like the country is ripping itself apart, actually, because of that vitriol. However, as a show that would like to unite and win, as a show that would like to bring people together, I can tell you there is one issue that brings together the extreme left, the extreme right, and the center, and independents. All of us uniting against our government and saying, you lied to us. It's a really important issue, actually. Arguably, it's maybe one of the most important issues in American history, if not the most important issue in American history. Ladies and gentlemen, the Kennedy assassination is sort of the premier watershed moment when our government decided to start with a megaphone, not with like a press release, but like with the megaphone, with all of its power exerted, lie to the American people and tell us to not believe the sights and sounds of our own eyes. It's the moment we went full 1984. And the cover-up is still going on today. Here, the New York Times, the far-left New York Times, does a report on a Secret Service agent who was there during Kennedy's assassination. Paul Landis, is his name. And Paul Landis says that when John F. Kennedy was struck down just feet from him, he got splattered with blood, right? That the official story is a total and complete lie. That he found multiple bullets from multiple different shooters. And even the whole magic bullet theory, apparently the bullet that killed Kennedy, that all of it's a fabrication. All of it's a lie. And he knows it because he's the guy who found everything. So he's coming clean. JFK assassination witness breaks his silence and raises new questions. This from the New York Times. Rob Reiner, who's a far left-wing lunatic, who's a big-time simp for the intel agencies and just everything that the left controls. If the left stops controlling intel agencies, then he won't like them anymore. But even Rob Reiner's out, claiming that he has unearthed proof that JFK was shot by 4 shooters, not one. Says the reason the first shooter shot and missed the president's motorcade is key to the theory. And saying that, obviously, the lone gunman from the top story window at the Texas School Book Depository, Harvey Oswald, that is untrue. Well, if it's not a lone gunman, then that means your government is lying to you. Do you think they don't know? If it's not a lone gunman, then it's obvious that the government is covering something up. Were they CIA agents? What was the motivation here? Who was behind it? Why did Lee Harvey Oswald call himself a patsy and get killed a day later? And then Jack Ruby, the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, he gets locked up and he gets killed. And nobody ever gets to know answers. So this is the far left. And ladies and gentlemen, we swing on over here to Ron Paul and Tucker Carlson talking. Ron Paul and Tucker Carlson just did a recent interview, which I encourage you to listen to the entire thing. It is wonderful. But Ron Paul in this interview said that the day we lost our government, the day we lost America as we know it, is November 22nd, the assassination of John F. Kennedy. Ron Paul saying that's the moment that the government disintegrated and we lost everything. Have a listen.
I say it was concrete that there was a coup and we lost our government was November 22nd.
Yes.
The assassination of Kennedy.
That was 60 years ago. Yeah. And our lawmakers never talk about it.
But you mentioned to me earlier and brought back in memory, but do you know who they appointed to the commission? Allen Dulles.
He was on the Warren Commission.
Yeah.
So the guy who was responsible for the murder.
He probably was the most
was investigating the murder.
That's dawned on me. The Republic is gone. That's when I said the day it ended.
Yeah, it's incredibly sad. You can either laugh or cry. Tucker generally chooses to laugh, but there was no laughing when Tucker exposed from a CIA source himself that the CIA had total involvement in the assassination of JFK. This was one of Tucker's last broadcasts. I wonder why they fired Tucker at Fox.
Find out. We spoke to someone who had access to these still hidden CIA documents, a person who was deeply familiar with what they contain. We asked this person directly, did the CIA have a hand in the murder of John F. Kennedy, an American president? And here's the reply we received verbatim. Quote, the answer is yes. I believe they were involved. It's a whole different country from what we thought it was. It's all fake. It's hard to imagine a more jarring response than that. Again, this is not a, quote, conspiracy theorist that we spoke to. Not even close. This is someone with direct knowledge of the information that once again is being withheld from the American public. And the answer we received was unequivocal. Yes, the CIA was involved in the assassination of the president.
It's amazing. How does the CIA, how do you, if you actually had a reckoning, how does the CIA ever continue? Well, there's one man who wants to actually end the CIA and is quite literally running on that for president. His last name, he bears the last name of the murdered president, and his own father was murdered, and his name's RFK. RFK has made it pretty much a campaign totem that he is going to end the intel agencies and expose all of their lies, misdeeds, and murders. And that's why you should vote for him for president. Well, I mean, it seems like a relatively compelling case. I'm all in for Trump, but like, maybe Trump could put RFK in charge over there.
Democratic White House contender Robert Kennedy Jr. blaming the CIA for assassinating his uncle, former President John F. Kennedy, back on November 22nd, 1963.
There's a 60-year cover-up. The Warren Commission was run by Allen Dulles, who was the head of the CIA, who my uncle fired. Congress found that, yeah, it was a plot. It was a conspiracy. There were multiple people involved.
RFK Jr. adding there is overwhelming evidence that the CIA was involved in his murder. I think it's beyond a reasonable doubt at this point. The CIA, of course, calls claims the agency was involved in the assassination of JFK a lie. Now, Kennedy is citing James Douglas's book, JFK and the Unspeakable, as having the most evidence. Tonight, RFK Jr. calling on President Biden to release all the documents about his uncle's death and follow through with the 1992 Assassination Records Act Biden voted for.
Joe Biden has not done this, but Joe Biden could do something far, far worse. Something that has sincerely bothered us that we've been seeing it percolating through the media is the sort of fantasy of assassination of Donald Trump. We've got a good shot, journalists joke about killing Trump if he's driving, like, we got the shot, we got a good shot. If he's driving with the front window open, or if it's a convertible, yeah. Startling moments where journalists talk about, well, the assassination of Trump. Journalists outside D.C. appellate court caught on hot mic talking about Trump assassination. Many people saying we are speeding towards assassination. One of those, obviously, is going to be a man who's been right about so very much as it pertains to the operational capacities and evil of our intelligence agency, Alex Jones. We were able to ask Alex on our program in the arena, what does he think about this? Like, what's going to happen next with the potential of a Trump assassination? Have a listen. What happens next? I heard you on a recent podcast say, hey, they may take both Trump. I mean, it seems like we're barreling towards assassination levels with Trump. They may take both Biden and Trump out because they're both so inconvenient. Do you still believe that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that the controlled left does that nobody watches or listens to really anymore that has an IQ above room temperature, they're like, oh, yeah, someone will kill Trump. Ridiculous. That assassination is part of statecraft throughout history. And if they have somebody kill Trump, that can create division between left and right. And then also, I think if they do kill Trump, they're going to kill Biden or try. And then that makes Biden a liability, a martyr. And so, yeah, if you look at the trajectory of everything they're doing failing and it getting more cartoonesque by the day, I mean, I think it is in the cards. I mean, they got the hit teams ready. I mean, believe me, the deep state has got teams ready to kill Trump, ready to kill Biden. Will they do it by poison? Will they shoot him in the public? They may go the poison route, or they may just go spectacular public execution. Claim a left-winger did it. then claim, oh, Trump supporters did a truck bomb in response. I mean, we're not in Kansas anymore. You look at that southern border, 15,000 a day coming across. It was 12,000 a month ago that we know of. 80% get away. So it's like, many times that. We're talking, 100,000 or more a day. I mean, this is America in collapse, where the ruling elite are trying to fend off the Russians, the Chinese, everybody else, while trying to keep their wife. They've been breaking her arm and knocking her teeth out, slapping her around. And now, at midnight, the wife beating drunk wakes up and he sees his wife with the kids loading into her sister's car, and we're already driving down the road. So, I mean, he can run out and kind of shoot at the car with a shotgun. That'll just give him a bigger prison sentence. We're gone. We're in the car. We got a broken nose, broken arm, and we're never coming back. Democratic Party's over. And I mean, that's it. They're a wife beating, literal child molesting, devil worshiping group of scum.
I mean, are these people going to give up power? That's the question. Do they seem like people who would give up power? Look at what they've done in order to get power. Killed presidents, right? So what's next? You shiver at the thought, quite frankly. You shiver at the thought. We got a chance to ask Tucker ourselves during a X Spaces live, ask him about the assassination theory. Tucker's response, obviously Tucker's a very knowledgeable person. He's somebody who's really, really good at this stuff. He knows a lot, and he's often very right in his predictions. How to say this.
So they're obviously going to see X as a platform. They're going to try and take X offline and metaphorically assassinate X. You've spoken at length at multiple situations about how you think that we are speeding towards assassination potentially for Donald Trump in his candidacy, because equally Donald Trump speaks hard truths that are uncomfortable for people, and also Donald Trump is a threat to the existing system. Do you really believe that we are on our way to a physical assassination attempt?
Well, I don't know what we're on the way to, but we're certainly on the way to something. I mean, one of, the great lie that we tell ourselves is that our lives in the world are static. They're not. They're always progressing towards something. We don't usually know what it is, but we're always on the road to somewhere. And you just sort of have to ask yourself logically, like, what's next? I mean, the amount of energy and money and time and public attention, all of which are precious commodities, the asshole community has taken to destroy Donald Trump is just astounding. I mean, it's honestly like the moonshot. In fact, they've expended more resources on destroying Trump than they did on getting a man to the moon, assuming you believe that actually happened, and I think it's in question. So it didn't work. That's the point. It didn't work. I mean, when they wanted to stop Bernie Sanders, remember, they kind of seemed to threaten his wife with criminal prosecution. Do you remember that? And all of a sudden, Bernie Sanders is on board with everything, and he stops whining about the billionaires, and he's actually friends with Goldman Sachs now. And like, Deutsche Bank isn't so bad. And like, I'm all in on the war in Ukraine. And of course, we'll take refugees from Gaza. Like, they turned Bernie Sanders into a bitch. And they did that by applying pressure points, of course, which is what they always do. And they've done that to Trump at scale. We're going to put your son in jail. We're going to put your oldest son in jail. And Trump's like, yeah, you. I mean, again, whatever you think of Trump, you don't have to like Trump or even agree with him to appreciate the remarkable resilience in the face of like every power center in the world opposing him, except for like the presidents of El Salvador and Hungary. Everybody's against Trump and he's still standing. So that does raise the question, like, okay, what next? You indict him 4 times. You threaten him with life in prison. These are credible threats, by the way. His trial begins in the middle of the primary season in March, a few months from now. And the guy is still running and he still appears to be unbowed. So, you're kind of reaching to the bottom of your bag of tricks and you find it empty. And it's like, we're threatening you with life imprisonment. Call it off. Drop out. Pick a successor and leave. Retire. We'll leave you alone. He won't. So, like, what else are they going to do? I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but, like, why wouldn't they kill him? Seriously.